17th day of June, 2021. Please rise if you're able and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right, let's start with the roll call. Sunday.
Supervisor Schneiderman.
Here.
Councilwoman Lostad.
Here.
Councilman Martell.
Here.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scavone.
All right, Councilman Scavone has an excused absence for personal reasons from today's meeting. All right, so let's go to the agenda. And I don't know that Ryan is coming on the call. As you know, the governor has lifted most of the COVID restrictions, which is a very positive thing. We continue to see cases each day of COVID-19 in Southampton. Though there have been a few 0 days, a typical day is 1 case, though we have seen 2, 3, maybe even 4 cases on one day recently. Some of that might be post-Memorial Day weekend, a bit of a bump. The other East End towns are still remaining close to 0. So it seems to be a Southampton thing. And I don't expect it to last very long. But, people should still be mindful that COVID is still here. Even if vaccinated, there have been cases of people getting vaccinated and still contracting COVID. So remember, there's different efficacies of different vaccines. But I just heard of somebody yesterday who had Pfizer, which is, I think, 95% effective, still got COVID. So mild case, but it can happen. All right. So the first item here is to review the agenda for the, or is it? We're going to review the agenda for the June 22nd town board meeting. And this will be held 6 p.m. excuse me, at Town Hall. So it will be an in-person meeting. Today's meeting via Zoom will be the last work session via Zoom. The next one, we're going to come back to Town Hall. So I want to make sure we're as accessible to the public as possible. All right, so this meeting happens 6 p.m. We will continue to do a hybrid meeting. I don't know how much longer we're going to do that, but we'll allow people to participate via Zoom at this meeting if they wish to be heard in public portion or during a public hearing. And I thank Charles from CTV for making that possible, enabling that ability. All right, we will have several public hearings too. Not so bad. The first one is to accept the grant of a conservation easement from Joseph Gaza. Property to be maintained as open space located in Quiog, pursuant to Southampton Town Code 244-4 and 247 General Municipal Law of the state. All right, the second public hearing to consider authorizing the alienation and discontinuance of approximately 2.9 acres of Community Preservation Fund parkland in furtherance of the Good Ground Road extension in exchange for the encumbrance and dedication of approximately 13.28 acres of property to be used as parkland within the hamlet of Hampton Bays, town of Southampton. And you guys are all familiar with that. That's really to ultimately be able to create a road to alleviate some of the traffic for Hampton Bays downtown. All right. Then we go to resolutions. First, anybody have any questions about the public hearings? If not, can I ask maybe John, would you read for Tommy John?
Sure. Town Board Resolution ID 36823, co-sponsored with myself and Councilman Scavone to amend Town Board Resolution 2020-1006 to accept a donation for the garden area at the Flanders Community Center.
Town Board Resolution ID 36806, authorize beach parking lots repairs from Suffolk County contract with Rosemar Contracting Incorporated.
Town Board Resolution ID 36827, authorize the supervisor to amend contract with Cablevision Lightpath.
36,764, authorize supervisor to enter an agreement with A. Martin Petrovich, professor of horticulture, to review the 2021 groundwater monitoring reports, annual superintendent's report, and management of golf, the bridge golf course. 36765, authorize supervisor to enter into an agreement with A. Martin Petrovic, professor of horticulture, to review the 2021 groundwater monitoring reports of the Sabonic Golf Course. 36809, authorize supervisor to execute a contract with the Southampton Animal Shelter Foundation, Inc. to operate and manage the Southampton Town Animal Shelter and Adoption Center.
Town Board Resolution ID 36767, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract amendment for Waste Zero to supply and distribute garbage bags.
36819, authorize supervisor to sign an agreement with Southampton Hospital for production assistance with the show Your Health Matters to be broadcast on Sun 20 TV.
Town Board Resolution 36829, authorize the supervisor to sign contract extension for cold patch pavement repair material with Black Gold Industries LLC.
36770, authorize the supervisor to sign amendment with Intergraph Corporation doing business as Hexagon Safety and Infrastructure for computer-aided dispatch software for the town's police department. 36777, authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Hayduck Engineering LLC for professional engineering services in connection with the preparation of a map and plan report for the formation of a sewer district within the downtown, within the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District.
Town Board Resolution ID 36825, authorize the supervisor to execute a 2021 Cultural Arts and Recreation Grant for Centro Corazon de Maria's Scope Summer Camp Program. Town Board Resolution ID 36781, authorize the supervisor to execute a 2021 Hamlet Services Grant for WHR Charities Incorporated. Town Board Resolution 36763, authorize the supervisor to execute a consulting contract with Pace Analytical Services to provide lab analysis services to the Department of Municipal Works Division of Waste Management.
Town Board Resolution 36821, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Greenway USA for Flying Point Beach Comfort Station renovation.
Town Board Resolution ID 36736, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, authorizes supervisor to execute a lease agreement with Quadient for IXFAF mail machine.
36723, authorizes the supervisor to execute all contractor indemnity agreements for the town.
Board Resolution ID 36728 is a resolution with Councilman Scavone to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement to renew the town's maintenance agreement with Grancius, also known as, formerly known as Acela, for Minute Track and Media Track and e-boardroom.
36734, authorizes the supervisor to sign a professional services contract with Hayduck Engineering LLC to prepare an application to the Suffolk County Department of Health Services in connection with the sewage treatment plant within the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District.
Town Board Resolution ID 36828, co-sponsored with Councilwoman Lofstad, to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2021 East Quogue Summer Concert Series agreement.
36832, awards RFP for the Brownfield Cleanup Program remedial site investigation for the Damascus landfill and B&B Engineering and Architects PC.
Town Board Resolution ID 36776, recall and amend resolutions 2020-589 and 2020-1088, and rescind resolution 2021-588.
Town Board Resolution ID 36769, a 2021 notice to bidders to supply and distribute garbage bags.
36794, authorize the issuance of refunding bonds. So that's, I think we're gonna have to do a roll call when we get to this one.
Yes,
All right, not today, though.
not today.
Did we want to ask Len if he's here still? Len's on there. Len, are you available? Now we can come back. I think he's logged in, but might not be able to hear us. So
Hang on, I'll get him.
it's okay. We can come back to that. It's just a refunding. You can explain it. We don't have to explain it on Tuesday.
He is on, but I can't get.
Let's just keep going. These are probably callable bonds that are just,
There he is.
Just a second. Just 2 minutes.
You want to close the door?
Yeah. Hello?
yeah, hey, Len, I was just reading the resolution about the refunding of the bonds, resolution 364.
Yeah. Well,
Can you
okay.
explain that?
Well, part of what I do is we have a lot of bonds outstanding, and some of them are callable at certain times and some of them not. So part of my regular review of the financial markets and the current situation is to continue to look at all of our interest that we're paying versus what we could be paying if we refinanced them. Basically, it's like kind of remortgaging a house at a lower rate. And we do this analysis regularly on everything. So this district, this is the ECD district, which we borrowed, I don't know, 7 years ago, probably. Looks to be able to save us a couple $100,000, probably closer to 250, if we move quickly on it right now before rates go back up a little bit.
Is that a per year saving? Is that over the term?
Over the term, there's not that much time left on these bonds. They're only 10-year bonds. So I think I would say like 100,000 a year for the next 2 years. So just throwing that out wouldn't make any sense. We might as well save $200,000. That's real money.
All right. We're not extending the term.
No, the state doesn't allow you to extend the term. You have to, part of your refinancing, it has to stay within the original timeline on the bonds.
No, the ECD will absorb then the refinancing cost. So, but you're saying the net is a couple $100,000, $200,000 positive.
Yeah, at least it should be probably 250, somewhere between 200 and 250 net after costs.
All right. So basically the interest rate environment is that much better than when they borrowed. And they did borrow a lot of money. That was like $25 million, right?
Yeah, it was $25 million issuance. And so we're down to the last couple of years, and it's very helpful to us. It's not only helpful in regard to saving the money, which is very nice, but it allows us to reduce the tax levy in that district immediately. And when we calculate the town's tax cap, the state tax cap calculation that I have to do, this frees up money for us, which is good. That's a good thing.
Good. Well, when this bond finally gets retired, that'll help too.
Oh, yeah. Well, right. So you're going to have savings this year in tax cap, next year in tax cap, then the bond goes away, and then you have a huge amount of tax cap room.
Right. All right. You might as well stick around. There might be some other financial ones here. 36753 accepts 2020 audited financial statement from the Rocky Smith LLP for the town of Southampton and authorized town clerk to publish notice of 2020 financial report. And we had a presentation about that the other day. 36768 accepts the December 31st, 2020 Community Preservation Fund audit from Cullen and Danowski LLP for the town of Southampton, and authorizes the town clerk to publish notice of the Community Preservation Fund financial statements and independent auditor's report. Len, that report, that was clean too?
Yes. Yeah, no comments.
Yeah, that's great. You know, it's important, you know, we focus so much on the general finances of the town. You know, the town's budget is, I think general fund budget is what, over a little bit over $100 million, right? But CPF now is the same amount of money. It's crazy. You have a fund as large as the town's general fund for preserving land and protecting water quality, just on that 2% tax.
Yeah, a lot of money comes through the town controller's office. It's not only that, we also are responsible for accounting for and distributing all the special districts, the school districts, etc. So when you look at it a couple of times a year, there's hundreds of millions of dollars going through my office. It's a lot.
Right. Yeah, because you receive the money for the school districts.
Correct. And then we have to distribute it to them. And there's a process, you know, they all, you know, and they want their money and we have to work with them. And yeah, it's not the easiest thing.
Okay. Well, you're doing a good job over there. All right. So I am up to, I think, 36779 accepts donations for the town police department. Looks like some nice donations, 12,500, 10,000, very generous. The next one, 36833, amends the 2021 adopted budget for code enforcement. 36782 amends the 2021 adopted budget for hamlet beautification. And 36784 amends the 21 through 25 capital budget for Damascus landfill. 36783 amends the 21 through 25 capital budget for Hampton Bay Sewer District implementation study. 36766 authorizes the supervisor to sign statement of annual financial and operating information and file with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Len, do you want to say what that is?
Yeah, I guess I've tried to keep it simple, but we have to file a document with the SEC regarding our finances and any material changes and whatnot. And it's a legal requirement. Governments are just like a publicly traded company. Nowadays, the SEC reviews our filings because people trade on our debt in the open market and they want to rely on our financial information. So we have to supply them on an annual basis a reporting. We actually go online and have to submit documentation that is full disclosure of any material activity, including our audited financial statements, our current conditions with regard to perhaps COVID. I had to give out an update in that, you know, that anything that would be material to an investor that was looking to buy our bonds, it needs to be disclosed on an annual basis, or quicker if something materially were to happen. I would have to immediately, I have 30 days to disclose that as well. So there's continuing disclosure requirements that municipalities are required to that have publicly issued debt that have to comply with.
All right, thank you. 36780 authorized transfer from town police restricted account. It looks like they're buying another drone. They're getting a little bit of their own Air Force over there with the drones. 36831 appoints Councilman Tommy John Schiavone to the Suffolk County Gorbeski Airport Community Advisory Board.
Town Board Resolution ID 36805, resolution of adoption to amend Town Code Chapter 107 entitled Balloons by prohibiting the sale and or distribution of certain balloons.
Let's just stop for 2 seconds. So one is on the airport noise committee. That's a county committee. Tommy John has asked to serve on it since he is sort of liaison to the airport noise in East Hampton. So that's why I'm putting that forward. And then 36805, are we ready to vote on that, John?
Yes, we are.
And the record is closed or not yet? It'll be closed by then.
The record is closed.
Oh, it's closed already?
Yep.
I thought we left it open for a week.
You
We
did,
did.
a week from the town board meeting.
Oh, so it closed today.
It closed on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Closed on Tuesday, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
We're still receiving a lot of correspondence, which we're still sending to you, but it's not being filed into the record because the hearing written comment period is closed.
I see. All right. It may be good for maybe planning or somebody to give us sort of a summary of all the, I know there's been some petitions out there and letters, and I know my office has gotten a lot of stuff. It seems to be in favor of prohibiting the sale for the most part. John, is
Yeah,
that what you're saying?
it confirms the survey, which was over 86%. And I think we've had, correct me if I'm wrong, Sunday, I know we had 125 as of the last, and we got in another 50 or 60 letters of support as well.
You know what, I can't,
I don't know
confirm
numbers.
the numbers for and against. We don't normally track that, and unless you ask for that. And so many more have come in since then. I would have to take a look.
Okay.
John, I want to make sure when you say that survey was 86%, my recollection was 86% saying that helium balloons were an environmental problem, but not 86% favoring banning the sale.
Right, it's over 60% agreeing with prohibiting the sale of lighter than air balloons.
Okay. Oh yeah, over 60%. Okay. Yeah, I think there's general consensus that they're a problem in the environment. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
What to do about it might be a little bit more mixed. All right, number 36655, authorized community preservation fund tax refund pursuant to the first time home buyers exemption for Douglas J. McKenna. 36807, resolution authorizing the supervisor to submit a grant application to the Justice Department for a body worn camera program to be implemented by the Southampton Town Police Department.
Supervisor, I'd like to co-sponsor that with you.
That's fine. I'm just not sure. I guess we should be applying for the grant. I'm still negotiating.
There then?
I'm sorry, who was that? Was that Chris Fenton? Maybe by accident. All right, so yes, I mean, there is.
Jay, we were gonna talk about that in exec session.
Okay, I just want to say that there's some question whether this needs to be negotiated with the PBA, the requirement to wear these. I'm trying to sort that out with their rep and come to some sort of understanding. But I think we can still apply for the grant. I don't think this would stop that. All right, 36773 accepts resignation of a laborer in waste management. 36785 accepts retirement of Diana Weir, Director of Housing. It says Director of Housing, I think, and Community Services. Maybe there's two housings there. Can we just take out the one in housing?
Well, she's Director of Housing in the Housing and Community Services.
Oh,
That's all.
that's correct. Director of Housing and Housing and Community Services. That doesn't sound right.
Doesn't sound.
It says it twice, so I guess it's right.
The department is Housing and Community Services, so that's a little tough English there.
Isn't she just Director of Housing and Community Services?
Yeah, but I guess they have her here as, she is the Director of Housing in Housing and Community Services. You believe-
We're gonna stop paying her regardless, Jay.
Yes.
Anyway, so we're sad to see Diana go. She certainly has earned a retirement. I'm sure I'll say something when this resolution comes up, but yeah, that's going to be big shoes to fill there. But we have a plan.
Yeah.
All right, 36787 accepts retirement of Grasna Lebkowski, Senior Office Assistant in Justice Court. 36634 accepts retirement of Nancy Lina,
Oh, boy.
Services Coordinator in Youth Services, another person who has served the town for quite some time. So we'll have two, and that's in the same department. That's in the, under Diana's supervision. 36786 accepts retirement of Wanda Asmodee, a senior account clerk in Justice Court. So there's a couple of senior positions retiring in Justice Court too. 36716 appoint Brandon Drummond to technical support representative position in information technology. 36772 appoints David Lipman to maintenance mechanic 1 in the CRU.
Town Board Resolution ID 36709, accept a grant of conservation easement from Joseph F. Gaza for property to be maintained as open space on Suffolk County tax map as indicated, located at Quiog pursuant to Southampton Town Code Chapter 244-4, obtaining a development rights certificate, and Chapter 247 General Municipal Law of the State of New York. Town Board Resolution ID 36761, road review application for the, I'm going to spell it out, BWIN BTWRE Corp. Suffolk County tax map is indicated at situated at Hampton Bays is accepted. I believe that's the last. We also have add-ons, Supervisor.
All right, I don't have the add-ons in front of me. I will look for them, but does somebody have them? Oh yeah, here I got them. I found it. All right. So John, you've got the first one. Julie's got the second. So why don't you take it?
Yes, add-on number 36835, a notice of public hearing to consider accepting a grant of open space in connection with the subdivision map of Seatuck Cove Estates in Eastport.
And Reso ID 36837, authorize the waiver of senior services shuttle bus fees for the Southampton Village 4th of July parade.
Okay. So that's it. Anybody have any questions on the agenda for next Tuesday's meeting? All right, Sunday, sounds like you're good to publish.
Terrific. Thank you.
All right, and we will move on in our agenda. So the next item is, oh, right on time. EV charging stations in Bridgehampton, and we're going to be joined by Christine Fetton, Director of Municipal Works, and Kara Back, Assistant Town Attorney. So let's see who's here. I see Chris.
They're both here.
And there's Kara. All right, so who is going to introduce this, Kara or Chris?
I can introduce it if Christine's not ready.
I'm ready, but Kara, if you want to give the overview and I'll follow you, that would be wonderful too.
Okay, we've been it's been proposed to us from the New York Power Authority. They would like to enter into an agreement with the town for access and use of a portion of the property located at 99 School Street in Bridgehampton for the purposes of installing 5 electric vehicle charging stations. The property that they want to be able to use will consist of approximately 1,000 square feet of landscape space and 5 parking spaces. 4 parking spaces will be outfitted with 1 charging station per parking space, and 1 additional space will be marked for ADA accessible. The Power Authority constructs and installs the charging stations at their cost and expense. They're responsible for securing all the permit approvals and getting the charging stations up and running to the public within 6 months after obtaining the permit approvals.
I have graphics if you'd like me to share my screen.
Please.
The cost of all utility services needed to operate and maintain the charging stations will be separately metered and paid for by the New York Power Authority. There is no payment to the town for the use of these charging stations.
What about the users? Do they pay anything or is it free?
Yeah, the users pay.
The fee goes to NYPA, however, to cover the cost of the electric.
So how does this differ from the charging station we have at Palm Quab?
We would not manage this charging station. The entire installation would be coordinated through NYPA. They're trying to develop the backbone in close proximity of EV charging stations in close proximity to main thoroughfares. So this is the ideal site in our development discussions with NYPA on this program. We offered several locations. They were focused in on this area of town and wanted to start here. As you can see, it's in the Candy Kitchen parking lot. There's 3 regular 4 stations. One is an accessible station. We would have to work with the town clerk's office to modify the parking, long-term parking plan in this to make these viable in the regular parking area if the town elects to go forward with this. But it's totally no cost to us. We're coordinating with them in terms of the potential to put wayfinding signs in and make sure that the infrastructure that would go in that traffic island would be screened and secured with bollards to protect it. It's really a benefit to the town in that regard.
How many parking spaces is it occupying? Or it looks like about 6.
It's a total of 5, so 4, 4 parking spaces plus 1 ADA accessible space.
Yeah, I've seen these in other parking lots and they sit empty all the time. I'm wondering though, I know we're being forward thinking, but we have a parking issue in downtown Bridgehampton. We don't have enough spaces. Are we losing 4 spaces or 5 spaces? Are these going to sit empty all the time, basically? People won't be able to park there if they don't have an electric vehicle?
I don't think with the population expanding in their EV vehicles and this being an area where we have a lot of downtown shoppers that these will remain empty. There's not going to be real enforcement of these other than the town. So if someone has to come in and come out, I don't think anybody would be none the wiser, but I think that keeping with our sustainability goals, this is the smartest location to put it. We have the other parking area on the north side of the road, but that's a little bit of a more logistically challenging area to put these charging stations. So,
is there a restriction on how long you're allowed to park in this lot? Is there like a 2-hour parking limit?
right now, this area is the long-term parking, but there is, we would have to work with Sunday's office on amending that, as I said. I can pull up that, the parking areas for this. Um,
So there's no, you can park for 5 days here, it's okay?
No, that's what I'm saying is that this currently is in the long-term parking area. We would have to work to change that. So it's not within the long-term parking area, and adjust that.
Just for these spaces, right?
Correct.
Because this is still where people who ride the jitney come and they park here
Right.
and they leave the car there. Can I ask, like, I see a lot of these things, they always say Tesla on them. Are these compatible with any electric vehicle? How does that work?
Correct. These are the generic ones that are not just proprietary to Tesla. So I'm gonna share a new screen to show you what they look like. I apologize for that. So this is what, can you see that? Okay, perfect. This is what they're gonna look like. It's a Tera HP high power charging port. This is the support equipment that goes with it. They're gonna have signs associated, signage associated with it, and I will bring that up as well. Exhibit B1. Okay, so let me stop sharing that one and share another one. I apologize, B1. And I apologize, I'm sorry. This is, I had too many things open.
No worries.
And Jay, I know one of the questions you just asked was, will there be a time limit? I know the way Tesla works, and if you park one of your, the electric car in a spot for too long, longer than, the time to charge, Tesla starts charging you additional money. So I imagine these are going to work the same way.
I was out at a lot in Montauk, a public lot, and yeah, Tesla took over like 10 spots, and I never said yet to see somebody actually charging a Tesla there. It looks like lots of advertising for Tesla, but I just a lot of empty spaces in what would be filled with cars normally.
Well, Tesla is providing the service, but it's not around a standardized interface. So the only different kind of interface that Tesla has is a high speed, which is usually with the homeowner. So these are for all makes and models of cars. So there is a standard interface. And the system that works well is that people begin to get charged, so they don't use it as a permanent spot. They use it to charge their vehicles, and then they'll move the vehicles. That's at least Tesla. That's what they do. I don't know if these are Tesla that we're talking about, but that's kind of the model. That's how it incentivizes people to move their cars into a regular parking space after they've been charged.
So I've just shared the School Street Municipal Parking Lot scenario of long-term parking and 3-hour parking area. So what's before you is the hosting agreement to allow this. And that was the area that they proposed based on the distance, the logistics, and the size of getting the support equipment into that island and not disturbing any of the tree structure in that area. You can see that the long-term, the charging stations are in this area here in the long-term parking area, but we can amend this to have these be in the 3-hour parking area so that they're more transient and they're not encumbered over, a span of days.
Sure.
How long does it take to charge something?
I believe that John may know a little bit more, but the fast chargers, I think that you can get a pretty good charge in less than an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so if you need a full charge, Julie, it's about 45 minutes.
Oh, that's quick. Okay. And I have one more question. It said that there was support equipment. What is that? And I didn't see it in that picture of the actual charging stations with the people
It
on
was,
it.
so you can see this aerial, you see this traffic island right here?
Yeah.
That's where the support equipment would go. So there would be some trenching between the island and that they would restore. I can bring back their picture. I feel like I'm probably making you dizzy with the share screens, and I apologize for that.
And what is the support equipment though?
It's the actual equipment that where the power supply comes into that equipment and it distributes it to each charger. So
Transformer, I believe.
transformers.
A diesel powered transformer or electric powered transformer?
It's an electric.
The current has to be conditioned, Julie. So typically, you know, when you plug your car into a household current, it's 110. What you're plugging in converts that, and that's what the system does. So it's just transforming electric. It's not a generator.
Got it. Thank you.
So the purple box is the 1000 kilovolt transformer. We've got the switch gear, and then the metering equipment, and we have the power cabinets right here. So NYPA has said that they will rescreen this area so it's not not aesthetic looking, and they'll install bollards in front of it to act as a safety both here and along these charging stations. So if you go to the Crust restaurant off of 39, that's a Tesla charging station. And their equipment is screened behind trees, some hedges so that you can't see it. But this all goes to that goal of New York State and NYPA providing better network for fast, affordable, and reliable public parking stations. And they're investing upwards of $250 million through 2025 to achieve that goal and raise awareness.
So the only other way you can charge your vehicle would be at your home, which would take about 8 to 12 hours to charge it, unless you go to one of these fast charging stations where you can get a full charge in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, so just to clarify that, a different, you know, if you have an all-electric car, generally they're set up to allow faster charging, the more modern cars. If it's a hybrid vehicle and you plug it at home, you're exactly right. It takes a number of hours, but it's a hybrid. So the car is operating on gasoline, but it's operating principally on electric and using that motor to help, and brakes and all other sorts of points of energy to recharge the batteries. But the all electric cars have a much longer range. The one thing that appeals to me about this, obviously to meet our goals, but also that this helps in expanding our own ability to have our municipal electric fleet, largely because we've invested in hybrids, which are, a combination of gas and electric, but it gives somewhat of a limitation to how far each of those cars can go, particularly in a town the size of Southampton. So it fits in perfectly with our goals to accomplish that.
Anyone else? No, it sounds good. My only concern, compatibility, it sounds like you've covered that, and loss of parking spaces potentially, which you've addressed. Certainly as more people have electric vehicles, I guess it's an incentive to buy an electric vehicle. You can park in downtown Bridgehampton, which is sometimes hard to find a space over there.
So
Well,
just so everybody, would you like me to review for the purposes of getting the word out where the public parking areas are? Because some people don't recognize them. I can put GIS on the share screen and go over what we do have. Would that be helpful?
Okay,
Okay. So. Okay, can everybody see that screen now?
yep.
Okay, so if we're going through Bridgehampton, we have the Bridgehampton Community House, which is a town facility that's leased to the Bridgehampton House Association.
Are people allowed to park there?
If they're doing events, if they're attending events at this facility, they can, but, and I believe the Jitney stop is in this general vicinity as well. So you have the Long Island Railroad Station, which is located up in this area right here in northern, north of Corwith Avenue, right here, which, and then people can walk down to Bridgehampton this way, come down Corwith. The town has this municipal parking area, which is near the Thayer's hardware store. And this eatery, which is the Golden Pear. We have the Candy Kitchen parking lot, which is down School Street. So if you were to head south on School Street, there's a new signal there. And enter in this way, you have this parking lot, which we're talking about right now, which has both long-term and short-term parking areas. The short-term is a 3-hour parking area. And then we travel further east and we have the parking area that was reconfigured across the street from, reconfigured as part of the Bridgehampton traffic safety area across the street from the Bridgehampton Library. It's located right here. It's an in and an out. It gives you good access to the downtown eastern portion. And we have pedestrian pathways now to the Nathaniel Corwith House. And that reconfigured island is part of the Bridgehampton traffic safety. So those are the municipal parking areas that the town has.
Is there parking at Nathaniel Rogers' house, the old Martyrs building, the library building there?
This is the current parking area for that that site. There is the original redevelopment plan of the Nathaniel Rogers house did not include the Martyrs building to remain, and that is anticipated to be removed in the future.
Right, but there is some parking spaces there that could be used.
Yes.
And then there's obviously on-street parking too.
Yes.
And then businesses have parking behind some of the businesses.
So if we scroll back to the Thayer's lot, which is the municipal parking lot located adjacent to the Thayer's and the Golden Pear, you can come back here and there's parking beyond the town-owned lot for business parking.
Okay.
And there's parking behind each one of these areas, which I believe is the yoga studio. The businesses right in this area. The Candy Kitchen parking area is usually occupied by staff.
Is there any places where we can get a few more parking spaces, or it's pretty tapped out?
Pretty tapped out. There's head-in parking on Corwith, right there. So it's on-street parking. And And as part of the pedestrian safety, they made this return on this area to make it a little bit cleaner.
How far up does that head-in parking go?
I believe it stops here.
And then it's parallel parking after that?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like there's room to do more head-in parking up there, no?
Yeah, you just
Looks
You-
like a big road right away.
to be a little cautious when you get close to the intersection.
No, the other direction. You're going away from the,
Sure.
I'm saying up there, yeah.
Yeah.
The road right away looks really big along that farmland, which I think we own, actually. That space.
Yes, we do.
So we could do probably a significant amount of head-in parking along that.
You likely could.
All right.
Just, I want to check the parking regulations in that area too, but you'd probably have to invest some money into cutting this area back and paving it and striping it.
Yeah, it could even potentially be metered parking, so it pay for itself. But that's, it looks like a great place to go for more parking.
Mhm.
Problem solved. Okay. All right, any other questions for Chris or Kara? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You can stop your screen share. Okay, back to the agenda. I think we are up to updates. We could get Ryan on if we want, though I don't really think it's necessary. So I don't really have much to report at the moment. I know there's trustees have raised a lot of issues about MECOX. So that's sort of a front burner issue right now. The levels of MECOX Bay the water level is quite high. And the salinity is quite low, and they're very concerned about the health of the shellfish there, as well as, saturating sanitary systems along the bay and ending up with coliform and nitrogen entering the bay. And they're worried about farm fields flooding. And they're particularly worried about the collapse of the soft clam harvest, which there's apparently a good harvest out there worth a lot of money that is about to be destroyed if they can't. The salinity is at, I think, seven parts per million or something, or whatever it is, however they measure it. And that apparently is very low salinity, very dangerous.
It's very low. It should be up around 11 or 12, I understand. So there's a lot of issues going on there.
What is that measured? Parts per thousand?
It's a good question. I don't know. I think it's parts per million, but I may be wrong.
So anyway, we've all been reaching out to the DEC. The trustees have applied. They've applied for what they had for decades, which is a 10-year permit to open and close it. They haven't gotten that permit. They've been waiting. I want to say about 6 years now, maybe longer. So they applied for emergency permit to open it, and they haven't got that either. So I do have a call with somebody at the DEC at 12. We're trying. Jim, I don't know if you have any update with the DEC there too, but
yeah,
people are very concerned about basements flooding and shellfish dying and everything else. So
right. I had a number of calls with the regional council, and then we coordinated with Sean and the trustees, and the trustees consultant. The trustees consultant did submit a modified application to the DEC yesterday. DEC did immediately respond and ask for some additional information. Hopefully that was responded to. I believe it was. So,
Well, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought this was something that we were talking about in exec.
Yeah,
today.
we will, but
Okay.
other aspects of this. You know, what we're saying so far is just public information, right? The flooding, the concerns. So,
Well, the farmers, particularly some of the pumpkin farmers, I know they had to reseed. There's been a bunch of issues there as a result of this. So I think action needs to be taken. I know there's some other things that the trustees are talking about doing, you know, to try to get this solved as quickly as possible.
yes, and then I did go there yesterday. I think it was yesterday with Eric Schultz and James Duryea to just kind of observe for myself some of the problems. So yeah, the water level is quite high. It's sort of at the top of their gauges.
Well, it has to do with the width of the cut and what's permitted.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things, details involved here.
Right.
yeah, it's mostly has to do with the back end, right? The, how wide and how much dredging in the back shoals that the DEC will allow at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Trustees are saying you have to do a certain amount to get the flow you need to have the water pressure to go out to the ocean. And but yeah, we've been talking to DEC. The CEC, the original application was for what is requested under the multi-year permit, and then the DEC came back. Can you give us basically what is minimally necessary to address the immediate concern? And we did that. So that's what we're hoping now is being reviewed and be approved.
Yeah, they needed the water to go out and then back in so they get some salinity. It's not just getting the bay water down, it's getting it down to the point where the ocean water can come in.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's a regional, you know,
It has to be a full exchange, otherwise you're not solving a problem.
well, you're solving a problem in the sense of flooding septic systems if you just get the bay water down. But if you don't get the ocean water coming in, you're not solving the environmental problem.
Right, and you have a higher than normal temperature there too as a result of this.
Right.
we need to get to the point where we have that multi-year permit. That has to be done. And,
Yeah.
you know, we've
Well,
had
I mean, there was a big investment made in putting in the meters, you know, to monitor this, to, you know, inform the decision when to open and close. And, you know, that data is pretty compelling. So,
Right.
you know,
I guess
what's added another issue is you got it's the heart of the pipe and plover season too. So, you know, there's concerns about that as well with the both the DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers. So
one other update I'll give, it's not really related to MECOX, maybe tangentially. I signed the FIMP agreement, the Fire Island to Montauk Point agreement. It's called the Project Participation Agreement. You guys had authorized me to sign it. Jim and Kara went back and forth with DEC and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers extensively, trying to resolve whatever issues I or the legal had with some of the language. We finally got it to a point where I was comfortable signing it. There's a lot of, this is really to renourish the beaches, starting from Shinnecock Inlet, just west of Shinnecock Inlet, all the way to the sort of the western end of the township. There's other things in it too about elevating properties, etc. It's a $1.5 billion federal funded project, which primarily is putting sand on the beaches, or at least half of it. It's about half elevating structures and half putting sand on the beaches. We still have a lot of work to go. The document has to get signed by all of the parties. So I'm not sure who has signed it so far. Did Babylon sign it, Jim? Is that what I
I
heard?
believe they have. Yes, I believe Babylon has it.
Brookhaven, I don't think has signed it yet. Islip, do we know, did they sign?
I believe I believe ISOP has as well. I think at this time it might be just Brookhaven.
At East Hampton, did they sign now?
I had spoke with John Janilke, the East Hampton town attorney. They were okay. They were okay moving ahead.
And then the county has to sign on too. I guess the villages don't have to sign it, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
The county is definitely in support of it. I spoke a couple of times with Peter Scully from the county on that, so he's.
Yeah, but wasn't the issue there easements?
Right.
With
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, our concerns were how I was more concerned about the reimbursements and any issues concerning our ability to get reimbursed for the values, the appraised value versus the court ordered values. But we can control that.
Yeah, we do.
It's a huge undertaking now, quite frankly. It's yeah.
We anticipate most people cooperating, but there may be some people who don't, and we have to use eminent domain powers for this, what essentially is just a work permit to do work on land where we already have a right of way. But we wanted to make sure if a judge awards a higher number, that will be reimbursed.
Right. For that
And,
amount.
we think we have got that resolved.
Yeah, we're not dealing with, to my knowledge, we're not dealing in any fee takes. We're just dealing with temporary work easements, so it's a little cleaner for us. But I know the county and some of the areas within the Fire Island area, town of Brookhaven, they've had some more issues on compensation issues. But that's the nature of the beast when you get into these condemnation actions.
Okay. Other than that, I can't really think of any other updates. You guys, anything coming from the CACs that we should be aware of, or any other announcements you guys want to make? I know we're starting to see more and more events. I'm getting bigger and busier and busier. Actually, I went to a really nice event at Good Ground Park. There was a five Eagle Scouts. Really remarkable, 5 at once, from various areas, mostly Hampton Bays, but some other school districts as well. And great projects. Several of them did projects in Squiretown Park. But it was really nice to have this ceremony at Good Ground Park outdoors. Assemblyman Thiel was there. I think Legislator Fleming was there for a little while and then had to leave, but it was a really nice turnout for the event. So Councilman Schiavone was also at that event too, I recall. It did rain, which made it a little challenging. It rained for a while. Somebody turned to me during the event when it was raining and said, "Can you do something to stop the rain?" And I said, "You'll have to speak with a higher authority." So he turned to Assemblyman Fred Thiel and said, "Could you do something about the rain?" I said, "That wasn't exactly what I meant." But
A little higher than that, right?
keep going. Anyway, but that was really nice. I also went to not an opening, but a tour of the progress at the Bridgehampton Child Care Center. And that was really nice too. I mean, that building that they're building is going to be just a great resource for the kids. I got a tour. Bill Chaliff is the architect there, and it's coming out really great. It's still a ways from being done. I want to say maybe in the fall it'll be finished, possibly, but it's going to be a really great thing. There is a opening of the Southampton African American Museum on this Friday at 6 p.m. I don't even know to what degree this is open to the public. I don't know, John, you were texting me whether you found out from Brenda.
Yeah, it's limited. You got an invite. I guess we didn't, but you're set to go. But then there are also events through the weekend, Saturday. I believe they also have some other events, but right now it's by invitation, only, as I understand it.
Can I bring you guys as my guest? I mean,
I have no,
we're all in this together. I'll reach out to Brenda. Certainly every town board member who wants to participate ought to be able to be there. I'll shoot her a text if you guys are interested in going. But that would be.
well, I would be, but I can't. It's such short notice. I have a conflict. That's my only problem. I absolutely support what they're doing, and just a shout out to Brenda because she's been extremely helpful to us in some other ways regarding CCA and some other things, some of the issues that we're dealing with. So I just wanted to publicly thank her and a lot of the other groups that have written letters for us. So we wanted to, I'd love to be there to do something to support what they're doing, but I can't, unfortunately, but I think it would be great if anybody else could.
Guys, I think it's 6 p.m. tomorrow. Do either one of you guys, Rick or Julie, want to go? If not, I'll go on behalf of the board. All right.
The same with me, the short notice. I already have something tomorrow night.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I have to work
Okay.
my other job.
Okay. Understood.
See, that I totally understand, Julie.
It is Juneteenth on Saturday, and there is a resolution heading for the president's desk to declare Juneteenth a national holiday. I know I've gotten some requests from town employees to have the town make Juneteenth a holiday. It is a state holiday already. It's not one of the days that the town employees have off. If it becomes a federal holiday, I think it's automatic and will become a day off. It will fall on a Saturday this year and I think a Sunday next year. But there are people who work on Saturdays and Sundays too. So we can discuss this, but I'm gonna have to look at the contract, whether it's automatic, whether the town workforce is off for federal holidays. I suspect so, but I don't want to misspeak. But it's becoming a really important day symbolically. I don't have the information in front of me in terms of what it is, but I guess it's when Texas, the state of Texas, I think it was 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, but finally when all the slaves were freed. Does anybody know the history of Juneteenth?
Yes, that's correct. I believe it's just that there was I guess essentially it was when the last people that were in slavery were notified. It was it finally reached after the end of the Civil War.
1865, as I understand.
Lee surrendered, and the Emancipation Proclamation had already happened. I think almost at least a year before. But then it finally reached news. The Union soldiers got down to, I think it was the San Antonio area, and notified a group of the last known slaves that they were free.
I have a little narrative from the state's press release about the holiday. Juneteenth commemorates June 19th, 1865, when the news of liberation came to Texas, more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation went into effect on January 1st, 1863. African Americans across the state were made aware of their right to freedom on this day when Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston with federal troops to read General Order Number 3, announcing the end of the Civil War and that all enslaved were now free, as well as to maintain a presence in Texas for the purpose of enforcement of emancipation among slave owners throughout the state. So there you go. It's become known as Juneteenth, and sounds like it's going to be a federal holiday. Len, do you know?
Jay, it is
Yeah.
a federal holiday. The president just signed a bill like 10 minutes ago.
This now,
Breaking news.
yeah.
Breaking news. So it's now a federal holiday. Linda, what does that mean to us and our workforce?
Control it.
You know, most municipalities have already adopted it and are having tomorrow off. I mean, Southampton Village is off. I know the town of Huntington is off, Northport Village is off, Smithtown is off.
Does that mean we close the transfer stations and things like that, or?
It would be treated as you would treat Martin Luther King Day or 4th of July. Do we have the transfer stations open on 4th of July?
Chris, you're on. Chris? Are you still listening?
It would be this, it's a federal holiday, and it was listed, they have it detailed today, actually, when you read the bill. And it's, the federal government is treating it as the other 10 national holidays. It's exactly the same. So it's the same weight and authority.
All right, so, but it's not every day that we get a new federal holiday, so,
The last one was in 1982.
okay.
Martin Luther King Day was the last one.
Right, so I can't say that I am familiar with, whether we immediately now, I suspect we do. I suspect that becomes a day off. And we'll have to pay overtime to those who work and close certain offices. It's falling on a Saturday this year, so it, in 2 years though, it'll fall on a weekday, and I suspect town hall will be closed in observance of Juneteenth.
Well, it's very specific in the legislation that they passed that if it falls on a Saturday, it's observed on a Friday. If it falls on a Sunday, it's observed on a Monday, just like Lincoln's or Washington's birthday.
Does that mean tomorrow is a day off, Friday?
Correct.
Town hall is going to be closed tomorrow?
You folks have to decide that, but if you were going to observe the holiday, it's being observed tomorrow by other municipalities.
Gee, thanks. All right. Can we get Sandra? Because I need to sort this out. Can we get I'm going to need
I'll have somebody get her on the call.
some of our municipal employees. We're going to shut the building.
It's on your executive.
Yeah, you want to, it's maybe more for
For exec session.
personnel discussion, yeah.
I had it on for exec a little later.
Yeah.
But if
We're almost done here, so we're about to go into exec.
I don't know that it's an executive session item. Either town hall is going to be opened or closed tomorrow. I'm hearing for the first time that you have to, the nearest weekday or the day before, the weekday before if it falls on the weekend.
It's similar to 4th of July, I suppose. Right? That's how we do it, 4th of July.
I mean,
It's the way the federal government is handling it. And it's like any other federal holiday. If it occurs on a weekend, on a Saturday, it's the Friday before. If it occurs on a Sunday, it's the Monday after.
right, but is it effective immediately? Like sometimes when
Upon signing by the president today.
so it sounds like tomorrow this town hall is going to be closed. And then what happens on Saturday? Saturday, it's not observed on the Saturday. It's going to be observed on the Friday. Like if July 4th falls on a Saturday, they get off the Friday and the Saturday, or they get off just the Friday?
That's a Sandra
Just one
question.
day, yeah.
Right.
I think that if we normally work on a Saturday,
Should be right in here.
yeah, you need it right here. Okay. Sandra's coming down. If you want me to clarify, I don't know what we do with like the operations that happen on a Saturday. So if it's like a police department operation, which we never close, those people that work that day get time and a half.
Yeah, I don't think this is an executive session discussion. It is or it isn't a.
Yeah, hold on a second. Sandra just came into my office.
right.
Can she see? There you go. Now you can see.
So
Wait, the question-
Sandra, this is sort of in the breaking news category.
We're talking about
Apparently,
Juneteenth.
Yeah, there's scuttlebutt going around, definitely.
no, it's more than scuttlebutt. So the president has now signed the bill.
I know.
declaring June 19th a national holiday, and we're instructed that if it falls on a weekend, the weekday before is a federal holiday. So that
So
would,
if it's on a Saturday, it's the Friday. If it's on a Sunday, it's the Monday.
Okay.
so,
That's the-
and I
But
don't
it-
know. in terms
I
of-
don't think it necessarily follows that we have to observe the holiday. And the reason I say that is because I checked the list of other designated federal holidays and it includes Washington's birthday, and we don't observe Washington's birthday.
I still think it's a local option on federal holidays.
It's a local option on state holidays as well. I mean, if we want to do it, we just have to do an agreement with the union, but the creation of neither the federal holiday nor the state holiday does not obligate us to make it a holiday.
All right, well, then it is an executive session discussion. If it's an option. If it's not an option, then it's not executive session. So,
Let me just clarify the other question. When we have, the 4th of July falls on a Saturday, and we give the employees off on the Friday.
Right.
On Saturday, our town facilities open? Like the transfer station?
no,
No. No, because they observe the holiday. They are open on the 3rd, and then the facility is closed on the 4th.
Oh,
So if we're closed, we have the observed day for the holiday. They have a different set of holidays. And like PSDs
So
who
how
have
would-
to
how would
work
this-
on holidays, they get compensated.
so how would this work? Just explain to the board, how would it work? If they were to have Friday off, tomorrow off, that would mean the transfer station would be closed tomorrow, but it would be open on Saturday.
Yes, if we decided to do it that way. I mean, usually, the last time we did this was when we extended the half-day holidays last year. So we made, we had to do agreements with the union to give everyone those extra 4 hours on the 2 half-day holidays at the end of the year. And in those cases, because we had a lot of the advance notices, we actually closed facilities on the half-day holidays. So we were able to let the public know in advance. And the people who had to work, like public safety or PSD, got a grant of comp time. So what I am thinking to myself is that if we decide to observe this holiday tomorrow, and it's a little precipitous to try to do it now because it's late on, it's midday Thursday, we would close. The people who were supposed to be scheduled to work in this building and other town buildings would close and get the day. And the people who had to work, my proposal would be to the union would be that we'd give them comp time. But that they wouldn't otherwise be eligible for overtime. I'd go back and look at the agreements that we did last year.
that's something we can talk about in executive session.
It's also late just because, remember, we're serving meals at senior facilities again. So it's really, we can't tell them today that there's no meal tomorrow.
Understood. All right, we'll finish. I just wanted to know if it was mandatory that we had to close because of federal holiday. You're saying that the contract does not give off every federal holiday.
No, there's absolutely no language on our contract that says that if either the state or the feds add a holiday, that it automatically gets ended.
A lot of towns do have that language in their contracts, so we don't.
That may be true, although at the beginning of the week, a couple of the HR directors from the other townships were emailing around, and the consensus was none of us were observing it because it's not in our contracts.
Okay.
And of course, I checked our contract, and it does not say anything about, the automatic addition of any holiday.
It is subject to the contract's language, and I guess we're lucky that it isn't automatic in our contract.
All right.
Remember, we negotiated about this. They didn't want to give anything back for it, and so we all said, okay, never mind.
All right, we will, that's for exact.
Okay,
All right, thank you, Senator.
We'll be calling you in a little bit.
very good. I'm gonna-
Are you going right into exec now, Jay, or?
Oh, well, I wanted to see if any board members have any other updates, and after that, we'll go into exec.
Okay.
All right. So is there anybody else who has anything to bring to our attention? Any CAC information or events? We'll start with Councilwoman Lofstad.
Thank you. So yesterday was the launch of our Habitat for Humanity partnership. Habitat for Humanity of Suffolk is providing a truck at the North Sea Transfer Station every Wednesday from 10 till 2. So residents who have furniture, appliances, and other stuff in good condition, instead of bringing it to our transfer station, can drop it off with Habitat. Habitat then uses either the donations directly or indirectly to build affordable housing. I believe they're doing 6 or 7 homes in Riverside and throughout Long Island. So it kind of gives back to our community like that. It also keeps those items out of our waste stream. So it takes the onus off of the town to pay to get rid of those. So it's a great program. We're trying to get the word out to both residents. Residents are the only ones who are allowed to drop off at the Habitat truck. However, there is a program for contractors and commercial businesses, and they can contact Habitat directly for a free pickup, or they can drop off at Habitat's Restore in Bohemia. We had about 6 or 8 drop-offs yesterday for the first day. It was great. A lot more people asked what the program was about, so that's even better. So hopefully it will take off, and we'll keep a lot of good stuff out of our waste stream that people can use for other good things.
Excellent. Anyone else?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to the Remsenburg Spionk Elementary School, Eastport Fire Department, the town PD, and the Sheriff's Department. They had a wonderful bike rodeo and car seat safety check this weekend. It was pretty well attended. You know, the kids get a kick out of being told how to, control their bikes in an emergency situation. They get to tour the police cars and the fire trucks, and it's a great service event for the kids in our community. And the PD does it periodically around the town. It's much appreciated by our young people.
Okay, anyone else? All right. All right, so we have some items for executive session, and let's see, we've got contracts, litigation, personnel, acquisition. So those are the items. I'll make a motion to end our work session, go into executive session. We'll do it via a telephone conference call. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned for all other purposes.
Thank you.
Thank you.